Hi, boys and girls. We're going to talk about measurement today, the skill that we're going to work on this week for math and do a couple lessons in Seesaw. And measurement is so much fun to learn and to do assignments with. I mean, there's so many fun things we would be doing at school if we were there right now with measurement. All kinds of fun things you can do. But we'll just do the best we can. So with measurement, in first grade, they want you to understand using non-standard units to measure things with. And those are things that you wouldn't really think of to measure with, but they're just not typical things that we'll get to here in just a moment. But it might be things like your arm. You know, how many arm lengths is something, or your fingers, or maybe your shoe. You'll use shoes to measure things. Or maybe it might be a paper clip, or maybe a cube, like the Unifix cubes that we use at school when you build with. Well, a lot of times we might do a lot of measurements with those, like how many Unifix cubes do you think it would take to measure something? So at school we would do a lot of estimating. So you would put your best guess and then see how many it actually takes to measure that item. But a common one that we would be using is paper clips. So I have a little example here. So the pencil, I have how many paper clips do you think that pencil, how long is that pencil if we measured in paper clips? So at first you might think, oh, a paper clip, you know, I would show you the paper clip and see how big it is. And then you'd say, how many do you think it would take? So, you know, you might estimate, you know, remember when you estimate, you try to get as close to the real answer as you can, but it's probably not going to be exact. So it might be, you know, maybe 5 or 6 paper clips. Just kind of give me a good estimate, okay, or a guess. So, but then when we actually measure, and I have the paper clips up here, we find that it took 7 paper clips, or just about, it's pretty close to it, approximately 7 paper clips to measure this pencil, okay? So those are not typical things that we usually measure with, but that's something that's really important in first grade, okay? So, and then we move on to standard units of measurement. So those are things ways to measure you might be a little more used to, like inches, feet, yards, centimeters, meters, okay? So here is a ruler, and I know we've used these at school, and you even had one on your name tag. Up here we have our inches. So this is 12 inches, so we know that equals a foot. And there are 3 of these in a yard, okay? And I have a yardstick at school that I would have showed you, but it's pretty long. So it would be 3 of these together. So that's one way that we would measure, that you would be a little more familiar with, more typical ways to measure. So I would put, now the important thing is to make sure that you have to pretend, because you won't always see a 0, but it has to be at the very first line of the ruler, okay? So when we measure, this is going to be, if you see, it's about 7, or a little bit over 7 inches long, okay? The pencil is. So that's how we would measure in inches. And then on the other side, this side here, we have centimeters. So that's another way that we would measure. So I would put my ruler right where that line starts there. You just have to make sure you line it up right. And I would say that my pencil is about 19 centimeters long. Okay, so that it's about 19 centimeters long. So those are 2 ways that we would measure, a little bit more typical ways that you're used to or maybe have heard of before. So another way would be by feet. You know, how many feet, if you're measuring bigger things, and you wouldn't be able to use inches. Say you're measuring, you know, the length of a table. You would be it would be easier for you to do that with feet. So you would say, how many feet long is your table? Okay, so that's a few different ways to measure. Another measurement vocabulary word that I would like for you to be a little familiar with is capacity. And capacity is the ability to hold something. Okay, so how big something is. If you might have heard, like, if you go to a movie theater, it has a capacity of 50 people. So that would be how many people the movie theater could hold. Another way that we use capacity that you might be familiar with is maybe when you're helping mom or dad make something or bake something, and you use measuring devices like these, like a cup, a half a cup, a third cup, a fourth cup. Okay, so like how much sugar should go into your or water should go into your mixture. Okay, so they say, oh, I need about a cup, or need about a half a cup. So capacity is how much something can hold. So you may be a little bit more familiar. It might even be a teaspoon. It's a smaller unit to measure with, or a tablespoon. We use that a lot in recipes as well. Okay, so that is capacity. I believe there's a couple videos that will help to explain that a little bit more. And like I said, I wish that we were at school to do our measurement activities, because I love teaching measurement. So I know you'll get a lot of that next year as well too. So that'll be really, really good for you. So boys and girls, I hope you enjoy your math lessons in Seesaw this week. Do your best, and I'm so proud of you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.